So, I've been examining the contents of these ruins for a little while, and I have some thoughts. Roll the intro. Hey everyone, and welcome to Interpreting the Trail Ruins in Minecraft 1.20. My name is Daskalos, and I'm a professional archaeologist and certified interpretive guide. If this is your first time joining us, I've previously excavated these trail ruins like an actual archaeologist would. So feel free to check out the other videos in this series. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. So to make the interpretation of the site a little easier, I've divided it up into loci, which is the plural of locus. What that is just individual groupings of whatever. In this case, each locus will be a building or a feature. So, for example, the tower here is locus A, and we're going to be moving around and finally ending with the road as locus L, I think? Yeah, that should be about right. Now for the interpretation, I'm going to ignore a couple of artifacts, and that may seem weird, but just, hear me out. I'm going to assume that candles were used for illumination. So unless there is a high density of candles that would suggest, some sort of candle manufacturing operation, I'm just going to chalk it up to needing light. And the same goes for stained glass. Unless there's a high concentration of stained glass, I'm going to assume that they were just used for windows. Also, for this interpretation, we're going to look at two things in particular. We're going to look at the artifacts themselves in each one of the buildings or locus, and we're going to look at the construction of the building or feature itself. And using both of those criteria, that's how we're going to sort of do our interpretation. So let's get into it, starting with the tower. So let me grab my notes here. Yes, I take notes. Every good archaeologist does. So, all right. So the tower here, there's a few things going on here. First off, let's talk about the artifacts. We have a sherd, which is sheaf, so basically a bundle of wheat. We've got dye, we've got a couple pieces of clay, and then down here, we've got two more sherds. This one is burn, this one's called burn, so basically fire, and another sheaf. Now, what's interesting about this is they are down there and this one is over here, which suggests that possibly the pot broke, whoops, let me get out of creative, right on this block here or somewhere around there, and the pieces went flying. One went there and one went down there. So the pot was probably on the roof or somewhere up here, maybe in a little window or something, and it fell and broke and went flying. Pieces went flying. That does not, however, explain the clay. The clay, I'm not really sure what's going on there. Possibly that is Mojang's way of depicting, I don't know, not unfired, but undecorated pot sherds. I mean, you think they would use brick. So I'm not really sure what's going on here with the clay. Maybe the clay is part of the dirt that sort of settled on here. I don't know. It's kind of interesting that both pieces are pretty much right there though. So maybe the pot held clay in it? It's kind of unknown. Moving down, of course, we got the candle. Yeah. I'm still new to flying, so give me a second. We got, of course, stained glass, and like I said, we're not really going to count stained glass or candles unless there's a ton of them. And then that's it. So what does that mean for the tower? Well, generally speaking, nothing. There's nothing we can really tell from this. I know you want some grand story that goes with it, but unfortunately, there's just not enough here to tell me what the tower was used for. So, sorry, it's just a tower. Moving on to Locus B, which is this building here, this structure. This structure has campfires, remnants of campfires, which is pretty interesting. And it also has the sherd here, which is burn. It has this wheat here, which is really interesting because both these campfires and the wheat are organics, which, like I said earlier in my other episode, organics don't really survive. The campfires maybe because the wood would have been carbonized, but the wheat itself, that's interesting that it actually stayed. Each one of these campfires is sitting on top of this piece of terracotta. This piece right here is the same color as the rest of them. We can assume that there was probably 4 campfires, but can't say that for sure. So let's look at what's here. We have dye, we've got wheat, we've got campfires, we have the danger sherd, a piece of white dye, a piece of coal, which I do believe you get when you break a campfire, so that could be the remnants of that 4th one, and that's about it. Obviously candles, and then of course this weird sort of armor template here. So what do we got going on with this building? Well, we've got burn, we've got wheat, we've got campfire, so burn goes with that. Wheat, we've got the sheaf sherds over there. It's hard to tell what's going on with this one as well, just because there's such a diverse amount of, well, not really diverse really when you think about it, right? So we've got dye, white dye, we got yellow dye, we got wheat, we got that coal. Let's assume that coal came from that fire, that missing fire. Let's assume, can't really assume much of anything else. The pot sherd obviously came from a pot that probably fell and broke. The pieces would have been over there, or it fell and broke here in the middle, and one piece went there, one piece went there. So burn and danger. Again, much like the tower, it's hard to tell. Maybe some sort of food manufacturing, because we do have the fire and we've got the wheat, and fire, heat and wheat, especially when you grind it up to make flour, could make bread. That's a possibility that this was some sort of food manufacturing, but at the same time, it's just a single piece of wheat, so it's inconclusive. That's about it with that one. So yeah, unfortunately, Locust B is sort of undetermined. Can't figure it out. So let's move on to Locust C, which is this purple roofed building. I'm going to refer to most of these buildings by their color, by the color of their roof. So just heads up on that. So what do we got in here? We've got, dead bush. Okay, moving on. We've got an armor template. All right. We've got blue dye. We've got a candle. Now we're yellow dye. Okay. Beetroot seeds. So a fire, a burn, sherd, a lead, some beetroot seeds, another armor template. Okay, so we got 2 armor templates, a crafting bench. Okay, or a crafting table, I should say. Okay, so let's tackle this real quick. Beetroot seeds. A lot of times, seeds that are not burned in the archaeological contents are usually brought in by rodent activity. Is that what's going on here? Probably not. I don't think the developers would do that, but let's, I don't know. It could also be the remnants of food too, so there's that. So we've got a lead, which would suggest animals. We've got armor trims, which would suggest armoring. We've got dye, which could also go with the armor. So we've got 2 armor templates and 2 dye. So there we go. We could have that. That could be 2 different pieces of armor that are one dyed yellow, one dyed blue. So I'm going to go out on a limb here with the crafting table and the way that this place is constructed, because you notice that these other buildings here are brick. So they're a little more sort of solid, whereas the mud brick isn't usually a solid thing. It usually melts over time. So this is sort of hastily put together. And I would say that this is probably some sort of workshop, if I had to guess. Something interesting too, so we've got the mud brick, and then we've got this sort of packed mud here, and I think there's one over there too. That doesn't necessarily mean that is deteriorated mud brick either. That could have been something that was there on that wall. This mud brick could have also been plastered at some point too. We're not really sure. Granted, there is no plaster in the game, but you know, we're treating this like this is real life. So unburned or unglazed terracotta for the roof, mud brick with some more sort of unglazed terracotta, some packed mud, which could be either deteriorated mud brick or just it had something on it. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this is probably some sort of workshop. Yeah, moving on. So this is Locus D, another mud brick building with a flesh-colored unglazed terracotta ceiling. Okay, big giveaway here. We have a hoe. We've got a sheaf sherd, which might hold some sort of importance. Another sheaf sherd. Okay, so that's two. Candle and stained glass we're going to ignore. A little piece of clay, not really sure, but look at the construction. We've got this sort of trough thing with a wall across it where the floor legitimately goes down. You know, this is a very interesting construction here. It is connected to that building sorta through a little walkway, but it's not much of a walkway. You know, with the fact that you have the sheaf stuff here, this could have been filled with maybe wheat, and this was someplace for animals to come up and graze. Maybe. I mean, you've got sort of a pen here with the wall, but the wall would be here if we were assuming that. So not really sure what's going on here either. The hoe suggests that there is some sort of agricultural purpose to this building, but again, don't really know. The hoe is a dead giveaway though. The hoe is, or not a dead giveaway, but a pretty solid clue. So sheaf and hoe, something to do with agriculture, something to do with wheat. Because look, you're not going to buy a decorated pot that has decorations that don't mean anything to you. So whoever was in this area using this decorated pot, well, the decoration meant something. So the hoe is probably theirs, and sheaf sherds probably went to a pot that had the sheaf, you know, decoration on it. So yeah, some sort of agricultural thing, something to do with wheat. And the fact that this is sunk down, you could put wheat in here, and yeah, maybe some sort of pen, maybe? I mean, we do have the lead over here. We also have another lead here too, and an emerald, which is interesting. Well, let's move on. E. Locus E. Well, here we go. 3 armor templates. Some beetroot seeds really high up too, which suggests that maybe that is rodent activity. Yellow dye, we have more stained glass, probably for the windows. We do have another lead here. So hold on, we have a lead here. Whoops, there we go. Oh, stop. What is going on here? Why is there we go. So we have a lead there and a lead here, which suggests animals. And if you look, this is constructed very similarly to building D over there, with the sort of weird sort of trough thing where you have this sink in this sort of sunk down portion of the floor, a wall separating it, and then you've got this cauldron. Now, if I remember correctly, there was dirt in here underneath the cauldron, which might suggest that this cauldron was sitting on a dirt floor. Now, why they would do, you know, the mud brick underneath that, I don't know, but it definitely had a dirt floor. So maybe it does have something to do with animals. Another issue we run into, though, with that sort of theory is that the cauldron is not used for anything but dyeing leather. A leather worker uses the cauldron. Now, we can't assume that the cauldron was used that way in the sort of history of what's going on here, but that's how it's used in the game. So maybe this is... Oh, hold on. You have a leather worker, armor templates, dye, and then you've got this little walkway that leads into the workshop here. Okay. All right. Workshop there. Annex here. This is an annex. This is definitely part of that building then, because you have a lot of the same stuff. if this is some sort of trough or holding type area for a horse, the armor templates maybe not used for horse armor. I don't know if you can use armor templates in horse armor. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But the dye, the leather working thing, yeah, I'm going to go with this is an annex to that workshop. You have the workshop there because this sort of has this, and you know what? That would actually suggest that this building is also connected to that one, because this one is built sort of in the same way that that one is. So maybe all three buildings are connected. You have workshop, you have feed. Yeah, feed here, workshop there, and yeah, holding area here. You got the wall, you got the leather worker thing. Yeah, I'm gonna say workshop, and both this building E and building D are annexes or basically parts of that workshop as well. This is a complex. This is a workshop complex. These three right here. I'm gonna go with, you know, the fact that it had the leads and the armor templates and stuff like that, and the beetroot. Oh, see, there's another sheaf and dye. Yeah, they're dyeing armor here. They're producing armor in these three buildings. Some of it's going to be probably horse armor. You got the wheat in there to feed the horses, the leads for the horses. You've got armor templates for people's armor. Yeah, this is a big workshop complex here for armor. Leather armor in particular. And you know what? We don't have any leather that survived. So yeah, moving on. This is going to be building F. This other flesh-colored roof building with the glazed tile on the top. Let's jump down into it. So we've got the, is that the heartbreak? Yeah, I think that's the heartbreak sherd. We've got a flower pot, candle. Not we're going to worry about candle. Not going to worry about stained glass. Stained glass. Okay, so wheat, armor. Oh, and we've got a campfire here with this raised thing around it. Okay, those of you watching my Bronze Age series probably look at this and go, oh, that's a hearth. Yep, this is definitely a hearth. Wait a second. Chairs and a bench. Oh, this is a meeting area. Yeah, this is a meeting area. This is sort of like communal area, so everyone can sit down on these little benches here, and the fire's in front of them. The pot here is probably a cup, representative of a cup. You got wheat seeds. Who knows how that got in here? The wheat, which is probably indicative of bread. Who knows how that got in here? Armor. I don't know. I don't know how that got in here either. But look, it's an open air type thing with benches around a fire pit. That's a communal area. That's a meeting area right there, if I've ever seen it. Yeah, meeting area right there behind me. That is absolutely what that is. You got the chairs, the benches, the fire pit in the middle. Yeah, that's a communal area for people to enjoy themselves. Easy, easy, easy. I am like 99% positive on that. Obviously, it's archaeology. We can't say for sure, but yeah, that's definitely a communal area if I've ever seen one. Moving on. Oh boy, the brick building. All right, so this one's fallen apart. This one has the basement. So we've got wheat in here, candle. Not going to worry about the candles. Let's go down into the basement. What do we got? Stained glass. Yep, not going to worry about stained glass. Okay, basement. What do we got down here? We got armor template. Oh, blast furnaces? Blast furnace, armor template. Oh God, am I stuck? How do I get out of here? Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm out. Okay, blast furnaces, that's kind of a no-brainer because blast furnaces are used. Oh yeah, another armor template. Blast furnaces are used to smelt down stuff. This is a smelting operation. That's the only thing those blast furnaces are used for, is for smelting. So this is going to be a smelting operation, just based on that. The wheat, I don't know. There's been a lot of wheat throughout this place. I'm wondering if they mean this is some sort of placeholder for bread, or food stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna have to say this is some sort of smelting operation because of the blast furnaces in the basement. Why they're in the basement, I don't know. Maybe this is some sort of something. If you have them down in the basement, you don't want them up here for some reason. Maybe you have people up here, and if you have people up here, you don't want them around the blast furnaces? Yeah, I don't know. Smelting operation, though. G, building G, smelting operation. That's what I'm going to go with on that one. Moving on. Oh, I just noticed that piece of stone there. I should probably take that out. That's all right. Moving on to building H. Die. Heart. Oh. Yeah, that's what I thought. Smithing table, furnace, blast furnace, more die. This is the armoring area. So, hold on. Yeah, and these two buildings are touching. I'm going to say that you have the smelting operation here with the armoring operation here. The dye would suggest some sort of, I don't know, they're dyeing something. Is that the dog arm? Yeah, the howl, not armor, howl sherd. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm going to go with armoring operation here again. So you probably have the smelter here and the armoring operation here. So these two buildings are going to be connected. I'm going to assume that they're connected. So this is going to be for metal armor. Now, why we didn't find any metal armor, I don't know. But I'm going to go with metal armor. Some sort of metalworking and armoring area. So that workshop over there is probably leather armor, and this one is metal armor. So moving on to this, which is I. So locus I. What do we got? We got armor. Okay, so we got another hoe, so that suggests agriculture. Dye. We've got another howl sherd, and a couple beetroot seeds. Stained glass, I'm not going to worry about. Well, the fact that this isn't a building, okay, would suggest that it's some sort of stall, maybe? Right? Because it's not, unless that terracotta. Well, it seems that all of the colored terracotta seems to be ceiling. So maybe that was supported by some sort of wood beam or something like that before. I don't see any. Maybe not. We do have the wood here. Yeah, I'm gonna go with something agricultural because we got the beetroot seeds, which again could have been rodent activity, could be the remnants of eating the beetroots themselves. That's what happens a lot of times with archaeological stuff. Is you'll get the remnants of food, not necessarily the foods themselves. Armor template, I don't know. The fact that there are seeds and a hoe, though, suggests some sort of agricultural use. The fact that it's also small and not an actual building, and there's 3 of them in a line here along the road, I'm going to assume this is some sort of stall, like merchant stall, and they're selling produce, maybe, or livestock. I don't know. Let's move on. J, we have the heart sherd. We've got wheat. Another howl. Die. All right. Well, if these are all stalls, this one's definitely selling produce. Because, or at least wheat. Some sort of farmer stall. So that one's selling food stuff. This one's selling food stuff. Yeah. Let's look at the third one over here. What's this one got? This one's got dye. Oh, geez. Three sherds, a couple pieces of okay, you know what? Yeah, all right. Check it out. and a brick over here on the road. Yeah, okay. These are stalls. This one here is a potter. They had a pot here, or a couple pots here on display. The dye could be used for paint. The clay, the unfired clay, is because they were currently working on it. The brick over here is probably undecorated sherd. So, so when it fell and broke, their piece went out this way. I'm going to go with, this is a potter stall. This is a stall for somebody selling pottery, maybe, next to the road, which would suggest that this one then is somebody selling wheat or bread, a baker maybe, a baker. I could see a baker. And this one is a farmer selling produce. So you've got 3 stalls here. I'm assuming selling something. I mean, they're not structures where they're living. They must be selling something. Ooh, which would suggest that maybe this is a storefront as well, because the blast furnaces are down in the basement. So this could be a storefront. Okay. That suggests something about the site overall. Let's look at the road. There's a couple things I want you to notice with this road. There are 4 evenly spaced holes down the middle, which just so happens to be the same size. Well, I mean, it's a block size, let's face it. All the blocks are the same size in this thing. But much like the birch here in those cavities, those could be poles. Also, you'll notice that sort of off to the corner here of each one of those holes is another set of holes, at least two wide, right? And then you've got this gutter running here. This is definitely a gutter. I mean, come on, let's face it. You have a long running trench down a road. That's a gutter. I probably would have used stairs right here so that the gutter was smaller, but that's a gutter. That's totally a gutter. So that would suggest you even have this right here, right? Which is really close to this. So yeah, I'm going to go with these holes are for poles. And this had one big awning over it, because you got poles here, you got beams running along the sides from the cavities that were in the ground. This road had a big old awning over the top of it. That's what I'm going to go with. Let's look at what's on it. You've got, at the very beginning, a lead. Interesting. Seeds, wheat seeds, okay. Wheat, whoops, which might also go with the lead there. You've got a little gold nugget. Now, gold historically has been used as cash, as basically something to pay for goods with. You got stained glass, you got candles, more stained glass. Yeah, the fact, more beetroot seeds, but those are really high up. So the gold, the wheat, and the lead at the very beginning of this road suggests that people are coming in with livestock and or on horseback or horses or leading horses. They're bringing money to pay for things, maybe from these stalls. So let's really look at what's going on here. Buildings D, C, and E are all sort of connected together. It's some sort of workshop. It looks like possibly leather armor, possibly for horses, because you got the leads and the wheat and stuff like that. And you got these things that kind of look like troughs, or at least holding areas. F is a communal meeting place, a little fire in the middle, some benches around it. G and H over there is some sort of armoring and smelting type of operation. I, J, and K are all sort of stalls for selling stuff. And you could argue that both the smelting and armoring buildings, the workshop, the horse armor workshop or whatever, the leather worker, and then the metal worker over there could also be selling stuff too. So what does that say? What does that say about this place? Well, I think this is a place of commerce. This right here is a marketplace. People come in here to buy stuff, whether it's armor, metal armor, whether it's horse armor or leather armor, whether it's pottery or whatever the hell I said this was. Oh, baker. Baker. Oh man, it's been a long day. Or this, which I believe I said was a farmer's stall. Yeah, this is a marketplace. The tower, maybe the tower is the beacon, the thing that people look for in the distance to come to this place. This building, yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure on this one. So that's what I think's going on here. You want to know what I think this place is? These ruins here, this is a marketplace, right? This is a marketplace. This is a place of commerce. People come here to buy stuff. That's what I got. So now starts the long process of moving this stuff into the museum, which I will do off camera, and I will have this world available for download on my Patreon. It will be free. I want to stress that. It is going to be free on my Patreon. You do not have to be a Patreon. Matter of fact, I don't even have anything for people who are Patreons, so don't even worry about it. But it will be free there. If I can't make it work on Patreon, well, then I'll offer it somewhere else. But this entire world will be downloadable, so you can walk through these ruins, you can walk through the museum, and you can have a good old time. And I'm very curious to see what you think is going on in this place too. If you agree with me, awesome. If you don't agree with me, also awesome. I'd love to hear your theories, but right now I am mostly convinced, like 99.999% convinced, that this right here is a place of commerce, a place of maybe trade, a marketplace, something like that. People come here to buy stuff. Which brings up a really good question. Where are the ruins to the village that supplied the merchants to this marketplace? Something to think about. And until next time, I'll see you then.